People have been asking me about the Grand Prix because this time I didn't post any best run videos of the qualifying laps. And the reason is because this time I would really like to win the car. So I've done the SC18 Grand Prix before, and I was one position away from a guaranteed key and I didn't get it. So how do I explain this? I came second in my qualifying group. I actually went faster than I wanted to. So I did a 121.8 when I can easily break 115, I don't know, 114 maybe. I can even upgrade my car to 3806 and I haven't upgraded it yet. And the reason is I don't want to make my the next rounds harder for myself. So I don't mind whether I get tier 2 or tier 3. I'd rather not get tier 4. Let me go to the prizes screen. So if I get tier 2 with a very slow time for tier 2, it's likely I will face less difficult opponents than if I get a good time. However, in tier 2, there'll still be tier 1 players that are sandbagging trying to go to tier 2. So tier 2 has been historically quite tough for me because I've always driven my best in qualifying, and then I end up with a tough group in tier 2 and have to battle for 4th or 5th place, and 50% of the time I'm lucky and get the key, and the other 50% I don't. But many of the keys I've never cared about anyway. The thing with tier 3 is if I get to tier 3, because there's many more groups in tier 3, because each group's got 20 or 15 players in, and tier 2 is just, what is tier 2? Tier 2 is 9% of the playing field, and tier 3 is 15% of the playing field. So you've got twice as many groups in tier 2. Even if people are sandbagging from tier 2 to tier 3, you're less likely to meet as many of them in your group when you start playing in tier 3. So tier 3 is probably the easiest place to win the key if you're a good driver that drove slowly in practice and qualifying. And now the other way to put it is, so if I look at my practice time, I believe the practice time sets your tier and group. I also believe it's possible it's a combination of the practice time and your qualifying time. My qualifying time is 2 seconds better than my practice time, so that gives me a buffer. Sorry, I didn't mean to draw a line then. That gives me a buffer to practice without risk of getting a better time of my qualifying time. Now, I don't want to get a better time because every better time I get will make my life harder in the finals. Once I get to the finals, every round I'll try my best and get my best time I can. I just have one more objective to complete on this to collect the last milestone. Right, refueled. That was a lot of adverts. I even started watching a movie while the adverts were on. Before I complete this last task, I should just explain the last few practice rewards, I think it's these ones, only become available once you qualify or pay the fee for qualification. And the reason why I drive slow in practice before qualifying is to avoid having to pay a qualification fee. If you want to get to a higher tier, you just need to drive fast a couple of times before the finals begin in practice. So your initial practice time before qualifying makes no difference other than if you do well in it, it makes your qualifying group really tough and it increases the probability you will have a hard qualifying group and have to pay the fee for entry. The other thing about these last rewards is they don't say anywhere when they expire or when you have to do them by. They will disappear when the finals start. So you need to complete them in the time period between qualification and the finals starting. And I'm now going to drive this really slowly because I don't want to beat either of my practice times or my qualification times. I just need to get 12 seconds airtime. For those that don't know why it's called sandbagging, I've just assumed it's because if you add weight to the car by putting sandbags in, the car will go slower. So you're putting sandbags in your car, making your car slower, and you'll take them out later. It's a hustle. But interestingly, sometimes adding weight to a car makes it faster. So for example, in my car, the light Mazda MX-5, if I put 75 kilos in my boot, or trunk for American listeners, then I get more traction on the ground. And I can accelerate faster off the start because I don't get any wheel spin when I apply more power. And the same logic applies when you're driving on gravel in rally circuits, for example. If you add weight to the car, you can actually increase the traction and apply more of the power of the engine onto the road and lose less in skidding and wheel spin. I'm just checking I'm going slow enough. I'm definitely slow enough, yeah. I'm not sure I did 12 seconds airtime because I didn't hit all the jumps. I might have to do it again. I was more keen to explain to you what sandbagging was for the people that didn't understand why it was called sandbagging. Yes, okay. So I've got my last 5 blueprints from practice rewards. I should have a good chance of winning the key, given that I've got a 4-star car already and I could star it up to 5 quite easily. If I want to star it up during the Grand Prix, I'm not going to buy the 120 token packs because I've still got a good chance of winning the key just by playing the Grand Prix. So during the Grand Prix, if I want to star it up, I will buy these packs. And I'm hoping there's some GT3 blueprints in there just for luck. But before I start starring it up, I'll see how good the group I'm in is and how well I perform against the competitors I'm put against in the first round. The GP this time has 3 qualifying rounds and we're currently in Q3. After Q3, I think there's a day delay before round 1 starts. But because the Grand Prix was delayed in the first place due to the flaw on Monday, we missed Q1. And we just have 6 rounds in total to compete against over the next 13 days. Each round will be 48 hours. The moment it starts, I'll try and upload my first run and my best run before I do a real run. And because this is a proper Grand Prix, we'll only get 3 real attempts at each round. Good luck, guys. I'm madder than you.